Jai Jai. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. வேண்டாமா கொஞ்சம் பேர் தானே இருக்கா. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Hari Om to everybody. Volume. Hari Om. Yesterday we were trying to go through, what we were trying to churn for the past 2.5 to 3 months. It is slowly the finished product is emerging. So we will just go through yesterday we covered technically 2 or 3 slokas. Let us now see. So the first is sloka number 21 in chapter number 1. Here, in the midst of 2 armies, place my chariot so that I may behold those who stand here, desirous to fight, and on the eve of battle, let me know with whom all must I fight. This is the sloka. So we ponder over what had happened 5,000 years ago, what is its relevance to now. It might be a historical or mythological. So how does it help me? So suddenly we get the prompting. Anybody can get prompting in any form. The prompting is an unrefined mind rushes into action without clarity, like an archer releasing arrows blindly. Pause, reflect, evaluate. Thoughtful action leads to better outcomes. As soon as he came, he did not say start the war, no? So before plunging into any action, evaluate. It applies to our every activity, every challenges he makes us to face. Every moment we are put to challenges. So before a bird starts building its nest, it carefully evaluates multiple factors. It scouts different locations to find a safe and stable place, away from predators. It chooses the right materials, twigs, leaves and feathers to ensure durability. It tests the strength of branches before placing its nest to prevent collapse. Similarly, before crossing a busy street, a wise pedestrian first looks both ways to evaluate traffic. If they blindly step into the road without checking, they risk danger. But by observing, analyzing, and then moving at the right time, they ensure a safe passage. Likewise, before taking any action, be it in career, relationship, or decisions, evaluating first helps avoid unnecessary conflicts and failures. When we hear this, what exactly happens in our mind? No? Please share. Because we want to ensure that it becomes a direct aid for refining, So when we go through this, what does it touch and kindle in us? Munjagrade. In anything we have to be alert. We have to be correct. Then anything more?
Not allow the impulses to react.
Huh?
Not allow the impulse to react.
That.
Observance.
We have to observe first. Then coolly and calmly handle.
Repeat several times.
Checking it several times.
Checking several times. Good. Yes. These are all practical clues. Then, anything else?
Not jumping into any conclusion.
Not jumping into any conclusion.
And she's saying if we fail to achieve something, then
we can reverse something.
Then if we fail once, we learn from the mistake and we take it as a lesson.
Acha, very good.
Don't react immediately.
Don't react immediately. Anything else?
Evaluate the possible result. He said evaluate the possible result.
Evaluate the possible result. Yes, then, yes, what did he say?
Someone said something.
Good listening.
Good listening. Good listening.
Good listening. Yeah. Good listening. Yes, very good.
Sometimes, sometimes we do fail Swamiji, sometimes it becomes a lesson, Swamiji.
Sometimes when we fail, it becomes a lesson. Same like what Shri Master.
Whenever we fail, at that time we may not be able to accept, but later on we find that failure had its own relevance in our life. Good. Evaluate. Good. Then
Accept that situation.
Acceptance.
acceptance. Okay. Evaluate before plunging into any action. Anything else? Everybody should bring their own life before them, and from there, what is the lesson? So that it doesn't become academic, it doesn't become textual, it doesn't become a knowledge. We are trying to connect it up with our life. All whatever point that was raised.
Swamiji, every challenge has some lesson in it.
Every challenge has a lesson in it.
Every challenge has got its own relevance in our life.
Lesson in it.
Place in it. Okay. Then, anything else? That is enough for the moment. We will go to the next. Wrong thinking is the only problem in life. I am unable to stand any longer. My mind seems to be whirling, and I see inauspicious omens. O Keshava. So when we hear this, what welled up? Delusion or wrong thinking clouds our judgment. Recognizing and correcting our misperceptions is the first step to overcoming inner turmoil. Delusion and wrong thinking clouds our judgment. Recognizing and correcting our misperception is the first step to overcoming inner turmoil. Example, Anita, a school principal in Pune, notices that her close friend and colleague Meera has started replying to her message in a short and cold way. At school, Meera avoids long chats in the staff room too. Anita begins to feel uneasy. Her mind started racing. Did I say something wrong? Is she upset with me? She replays old conversation, looking for mistakes. The more she thinks, the more convinced she becomes that Meera is pulling away on purpose. After a few days, Anita finally asks Meera if something is wrong. To her shock, Meera breaks down, shares that she has been going through a serious family issue but did not want to trouble anyone. Anita is stunned. What she thought was rejection was actually pain. Her mind had created a false story. In that moment, she realizes how our thoughts can cloud the truth, just like Arjuna on the battlefield, seeing doom when the truth was something deeper. From then on, Anita learns to pause before jumping to conclusions and to seek clarity before reacting. Yes, what does it touch and kindle? We go back to our own life.
We should give everyone benefit of the doubt.
Eh?
We should give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
We should feel?
We should give everyone benefit of the doubt.
Give the benefit of doubt to others.
We should give the benefit of doubt whenever we are confronted with any such situation.
Our likes and dislikes should not cloud our judgment.
Our likes and dislikes. That is how the wrong thinking comes. Our wrong thinking comes because our likes and dislikes, yes, that is one of the reasons. Even a person whom we don't know, when he does something, we may feel something, but the reality might be something else. Then, anything else?
We should not judge Swami.
We should not judge.
Eh?
We should not judge.
We should not. We will judge, but we will do some pausing. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not jumping to conclusion.
Want something to
Without
conclude.
checking.
Not jumping to conclusion.
Not jumping to conclusions. Because voice is too much. Then, wrong thinking is the only problem in life. Ah.
Sometimes we assume something.
Huh?
Sometimes we assume.
Correct. We assume so many things based upon certain circumstances, but it need not necessarily be. In Anita's case, because she became, according to her, slightly indifferent, and she started building up a story. But finally, she had the courage to get it verified. Otherwise, how will she? Good. Then, assumption, correct. Anything else? For evaluate, so many suggestions came. The purpose is, when we ask this, it is not the answer that matters. A process goes on inside us. It will help us in our life. All of us are victims to all these things. So suddenly when we hear this, what touches and kindles? If it is coming from our own experience, it's a great lesson. If it is coming from our own, knowledge, then it may not help much.
Swamiji, this happens often when someone has put an earphone and listening to something, you keep on saying something,
Sometimes even
and then you don't even listen this much, they start shouting. Then that person will remove the earphone and say, oh, I'm sorry, I did not listen.
They keep earphones, then try to hear. They won't hear properly. Afterwards, they say, I'm sorry, I could not hear properly.
That means our mind is blocked.
yours are also
That's all.
When
We are being judgmental. We are being judgmental.
preconceived notions,
Correct. That's
preconceived notions block a right evaluation. Wrong thinking comes because of that,
restless mind.
Restless mind. Then,
Expectation from the other one. We expect
Expectation. Expectation.
it's an expectations.
when the reality does not tally with expectation. Then we know that it was wrong thinking. So expectation is based on something which is not real.
Yes, it boils down to assumption only.
Assumption. You remember we were sharing one incident when we were in Wayanad. A close friend of us, he was quite upset because when he happened to wish our Jain friend, he did not react. He did not respond. We are all very close. So immediately, he became upset. And he felt that this man had become top heavy, and so he was highly disturbed. So when we met him, he said, I never thought that he will be like this and that. I said, he is never like that. So when we rushed back to the estate, told the friend, and immediately, he said, okay, we got into the jeep vehicle, went to see him. That incident, because the other person assumed that he has deliberately not. Due to absent-mindedness, he would not have seen him, which happens to everybody. But he got highly offended. And that incident also taught us that immediately you go and repair. Don't justify. Don't go through the postmortem. Because human relationship is far, far, far more important than our rights and wrongs. These are the words he used. Human relationship is far, far, far more important than our rights and wrongs. So immediately when we went there, he hugged him. Everything got squared up. Then he said, why did I make such a comment about you? Fun. So the wrong thing, if it was not repaired, the wrong thing would have definitely separated them, Those who have been very close for more than 20 years, Yes, so like that, it comes in our mind, incidents which we have witnessed, how this wrong thinking is the only problem in life. When we deal with men and matters, at the family level, professional level, social level, so many things will happen. We will not mix it up with our relationship. We may differ, so many things will happen. But personal relationship, it can't, we will know that, it can't be something, you would have misunderstood, okay, that's all. There ends the whole matter. Because we are trying to refine our mind. All of us are committing this mistake, unknowingly, not knowingly. Any other point? Receptive?
I couldn't understand. He said it double.
Even if become receptive, sometimes it happens. Okay. No, we should know, but what we are trying to understand is, all these misunderstanding, difference of opinion, everything comes because from our level. Suppose we raise ourselves to a little higher level, we may not be able to go along with it, but we will not have any inner turmoil. He was prompted to act like that, okay, it's all right. That means the individual, we are all supposed to be associating with spiritual practices, So if it happens to an outsider, okay, he may have his own norms. Our norms are different. Our norms are, every day we are trying to read that God is behind everything, God is behind everything, God is behind everything. We unknowingly define that God is behind everything wherever it suits me. Wherever it doesn't suit, I see them as others. So for us, this is a beautiful thing, that whenever wrong thinking comes, immediately we try to understand, why did God through that form behave like that? That you can take God into task, leaving the individual. He may have his own reasons. This is how a sadhaka approaches this.
மாமியார் மாற்றவங்களுடைய ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் கூட இருந்தால் மாமியார் மாற்றவங்களுடைய ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்பு
மாமியார் correct. Mother-in-law's daughter-in-law problem. In good old days, nowadays of course it may not be in a different way. In good old days, whatever the daughter-in-law works, the mother-in-law may not accept. Whatever the mother-in-law says, the daughter-in-law will not accept. Anyway, then anything.
For everything, the me and mine is the problem.
Me and mine is the real problem. Me and mine is the real problem. Yeah. Okay.
Attachment in boss and subordinate also.
Yeah, it happens.
Only lack of patience the situation.
Yeah. Yes. We also committed the same mistake when we were working. We started shouting at our boss.
Yes, Swamiji, I remember that.
Yeah. And finally, because he was a great person, he finally made us to cool down. And the final word, if you still feel I have worked, I am sorry, that made us to realize where we have gone. All our minds started building up one by one. And because he was so great, immediately the damage was repaired. So all those things come to us. So it is not a theory, it is something which had happened. And that was a great lesson for all of us. So that much is there, okay. Now we go to the third one. Individualism distorts our vision. My bow, the Gandhiva, slips from my hand and my skin burns all over. My mind is in turmoil and I am unable to remain steady. I see only bad omens and fail to perceive any good in killing my own kinsman. An unsteady mind creates agitation and chaos, leading to confusion and loss of morale. It succumbs to superstitions and fails to discriminate between right and wrong. This is the result of individualism, where personal attachments cloud judgment. The remedy lies in recognizing that every situation is an opportunity to align with his will. Ravi, a young entrepreneur, faces a sudden business setback. His biggest client cancels a long-term contract. His mind spins out of control. He blames himself, then others. He starts fearing financial ruin, begin acting on impulse, consulting astrologers, following random advice, making desperate decisions. These are the things he does. His attachment to success and fear of failure cloud his thinking. He can no longer see things clearly. Every decision feels like a reaction, not a response. His mind becomes his own battlefield. One day during a quiet moment, he hears a devotional song playing in the background, reminding him of a deeper truth. This too is his will. Something clicks. He takes a breath and chooses to pause, reflect, realign. He begins seeing the setback as not as a punishment, but as a push to redirect his efforts wisely. Ravi's clarity returns when he stops clinging to personal outcomes and surrenders to a larger purpose. His mind steadies not by control, but by connection to something higher than himself. Individualism. Anybody remembers anything in your life, no? This also we have shared. Two friends, family friends, they had entered into a business. One was a working partner, he had no money. The other had invested. So the working partner was managing, and then somehow the other person dies. His brother takes the position. It was going from bad to worse. The business was going from bad to worse. So the brother decided, we will close this, no more incurring, adding the liabilities. But the other man was firm. I have given a word that I will run this to your brother. I have given a word, A lot of arguments, a lot of problems. Ultimately, one of them contacted us and we were able to talk to these people. He was very firm. The other man said, he's a good man, but he doesn't understand the reality. He thinks he has given a word to my brother, but we should know the reality, So we tried to convince him, he did not. And we made him to realize the reality, and finally they came round and it was to be sorted out. So it was in Calicut town. There was case, police case, this and that. So many things were there between them. And then, because of the compromise, he said, you should come and have. Each one is having something in that room, showroom. So it has to be separated. The early morning, we caught the bus and reached Calicut before 7:30, 8 o'clock. Both of them were there. We remember that. Our intention was not to intense prayer before going, was Not that this problem has to be sorted out. The long relationship, the close friendship, that had to be repaired. That was our intention. So when we opened, we asked both of them to enter. Then we asked each and every item, this is yours or this is ours? It was going on. I was sitting, one party is there, one party is here, not looking at each other. But once it so happened that they happened to look at each other. And that was there for a few seconds. Immediately I took both their hands and joined together. Forget about what had happened. Both of us are all of us are working out our prarabdha. You were friends, you are friends, you will be friends. Forget about what you had happened. Immediately both of them hugged each other and then everything got settled. Individualism. I have given a word. I have to honor. Like that, no? Okay, you should try your level best to honor. But you should face the reality. 6 to 7 lakhs in that period. This had happened in 80s. Oh, it's a very big amount. Nobody can mobilize. The other party, at least he has got coffee estate and money. He will be able to tackle the issue. This man has nothing to fall back upon. So like that, when we read this, it again comes out. Great lesson for all of us. We always remember that Jain friend, human relationship is far more important than our rights and wrongs. Anything else anybody would like to say? Try to go back to your life. What you have seen, what you have heard, what you have witnessed, what you have experienced. Then only Gita is entering into us.
Swamiji, in human relationship, we see things from our perspective, and the other person sees things from their perspective. So
We see things from our perspectives and the other person sees
Exactly.
from their own perspective.
Exactly.
so that's where the clash comes.
Correct. That is why the thought traffic is stopped.
Yes.
We have to bridge the gap,
Yes. Yes.
That is why here the word is given in that anecdote. The remedy lies in recognizing that every situation is an opportunity to align with his will. Everything will not go as our individual will decides. He will allow the individual to succeed, he will make the individual will to fail.
True. Yes.
Anything else? Individualism distorts our vision.
Submitting to the higher will.
Submitting to the higher will.
Higher will.
Submitting to the higher will.
Submitting to that we should know,
No, only take that what is destined to happen will happen. And what is not destined to happen
Will not happen.
happen. However hard you try.
Correct.
Therefore, the best course is to submit to the higher will.
That is why Papa used to say, whatever prompting you get, you act. But don't think that you are prompted to act like that. The rights and wrong is not yours. So that the individual is not mixed with that. You are prompted to do that. Similarly, he is prompting the other person also to do that. If we try to accept that, then we differ. At the same time, we don't have any biased views. I'm sorry, I cannot go along with this particular line of approach. You will say that. But still the friendship will be there. On this issue, we differ. Think about it, please. We will again come back. The next one is clarity of purpose helps overcome inner confusion. For I desire not victory, O Krishna, nor kingdom, nor pleasures. Of what avail is dominion to us, O Gandiva, or Govinda? Of what avail are pleasures or even life itself? Suddenly he becomes, talk. In moments of crisis, when action is required, inner confusion can weaken our resolve. Arjuna, standing on the battlefield, suddenly questions the very purpose of the war. His mind shifts from duty to doubt, from dharma to despair. Similarly, in our own lives, when we lose sight of the larger goal, doubts and demotivation cloud our actions. This verse reveals an important truth. Without a clear understanding, even great victories and achievements may feel meaningless. True clarity comes when every action is aligned with a higher purpose. Spiritual refinement ensures that our thoughts, words, and deeds are guided by conviction rather than confusion. Imagine a student preparing for an important exam. Initially, they are motivated, knowing that success will open doors for the future. However, as they sit down to study, doubts creep in. Why am I even doing this? What if I fail? Is this really worth the effort? This confusion drains their energy, making them lose focus and motivation. Now, if the student refines their thoughts, shifting from focus from self-doubt to deeper purpose of learning and growing, they regain clarity and enthusiasm. We were sharing about Bahubalis, and Bharadas. Though he won, suddenly he knew it is meaningless. And we are now trying to see it in our life, any such incident that has come, so that it gets stamped in our heart. The principle is clarity of purpose helps overcome inner confusion. You remember that pilot, what is her name? Urmila Yadav. When she knew that the nose wheel had dropped, she was carrying 48 passengers. But clarity of purpose is there, safe landing. And then she handled it in such a way, nobody knew about it. Otherwise, there will be total chaos if she had addressed in the public communication system. Everybody will be upset, crying, weeping, yelling, and the ground people may not know what to do. Because it has dropped, it has to be landed. She did not inform anybody. And automatically the courage comes, the self-confidence comes. Purpose is there. Safe landing. So it helps us to overcome the confusion. And she did, accepting a jerk. And nobody, then only she announced. So please think about it. Clarity of purpose helps overcome inner confusion. Many decades ago, now unlike today, the condition of the road was very bad. It must be 50, 60 years ago. It was a jeep. Suddenly, the hairpin bends are there. It is going down. Suddenly, the brake failed. Just imagine. 4 or 5 passengers are there in the jeep. We still remember the driver. He slowly, tried his level best by controlling the speed. And then finally, when an appropriate something was there to block our traffic, he went there and then somehow dashed. There was a jerk. But nothing happened to anybody, nothing happened to the vehicle. Then only he announced, we did not know, then only he announced there was a brake failure. And then he went down, did something, repaired something, and somehow in first gear he was slowly going. When it reached the level, went to the workshop, did some repair in half an hour, and handled everything. But clarity of purpose helped overcome inner confusion. He can say, what can I do? He is not at fault. So purpose is there. I must give them a safe landing without any confusion. So he did not even announce. Later on, when we put two and two together, when he told us, then only we could understand what all he did from the moment he knew that there was a brake failure. So, but through these incidents, God is making us to witness our experience, and so that something of it will remain with us when we handle men and matters. We may not be able to do it fully, agreed. Our mind has not become that mature. But something will be there, because that is the very purpose of remembering. That itself is an indication that it is there in our memory hub, in our storehouse. So that will come to us in times of crisis. It can soften, it can give a cushion. So this is the purpose. This is the purpose of this whole exercise. Anything from anybody? Huh?
Many years ago, when we worked in the kitchen with the kerosene stove, supporters came and brought the entire kerosene water which was outside. But for God's grace, the fire started in the kitchen. So God's grace, I put the children inside the room, so they brought a bedsheet, put the fire off. I don't know how I got the energy, but after doing that, my legs started building. Everything got settled. But God gave me I didn't know that it was Papa at that time. Because 45 years back, that incident comes to my mind.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Aligning with His will. At that time we would have said we have handled, but at least now we realize. That is all. That's all. Anything else? We repeat, the purposes of asking is to somehow get ourselves riveted to this ideal.
Swamiji, I had informed you about that, the anecdote about the person Raju Naik who helped.
She said she had given that anecdote about that Raju Nayak who helped those people when there was what do you call that? When people were killing and hitting people, there was what was it, riot kind of a thing. Correct? Padmama is the same
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
This
yes.
man, there was a big riot kind of thing and everyone was very scared. I think he was running away. He was sitting in the factory along with some people. Some gundas came there with swords and all, hurt the workers who were there. And this man had the courage, he immediately took those people into the jeep or something, some vehicle, and they were going. On the way also, those people tried to block their path. So he told the person of the jeep, you go in full speed so that they move off. And he did not worry about them, he took them to the hospital and got them safe.
Okay. Clarity. Somehow they should be saved. That was the clarity. He was prepared to take any risk. And when we go through the shloka, we find that our mind has got a habit of justifying, That's what Arjuna did. What is there? Suddenly, he talks like a realized saint. So that also, that tendency also may be there in us. That suddenly our mind will justify. So this churning will help us. I should not do that. My mind should not justify my action. It should evaluate impartially and then come to a decision. Even at that moment I fell a prey to it, I can still correct. Okay, then from there we move to the next. Beware of the assumed personality's influence. Alas, we are committing a great sin, Arjuna says, by being ready to kill our own kinsmen out of greed for the pleasures of the kingdom. While Arjuna's words may seem to stem from piety, the truth is that he is confronted with his challenge due to dharma. To refine the mind, one must be vigilant against such hypocrisy. Often a person is guided by a self-projected image which clouds their perceptions of reality. Yesterday we were reading to one of our friends Papa's words. He never. Do not find fault with anybody. These are Papa's words for us to ponder over. Do not find fault with anybody in the world because each one is acting from his or her own standpoint, which each one holds to be true. It must not be forgotten that whenever anybody sits in judgment of others and passes strictures on them, he is doing so being conscious only as an individual or an ego. I am right and others are wrong is the attitude of one who is willfully denying or is totally oblivious of the principle of selfless or impersonal life. Ego is a wonderful thing. It always asserts that it is a faultless paragon of virtue and goodness, while the whole world is full of error and wrong. Man, however wise, when he falls into the clutches of the ego and poses himself to be superior, clever and great, deliberately makes himself unworthy of a great cause. True is the saying that man rises by his own strength, falls by his own strength. Strength is gained by communion with God. Weakness comes through subjection to the ego. Very, very, very powerful, because we are all likely to fall into this. Our mind may interpret. This is what we saw now. Huh?
What is the shloka?
Shloka is 45.
45.
Alas, we are committing a great sin by being ready to kill our own kinsmen. Arjuna's words may seem to stem from piety. Imagine an employee working at a company where unethical practices are taking place. He discovers that his department is involved in financial fraud. At first he feels deeply troubled and tells himself, I cannot be a part of such wrongdoing. It is sinful to deceive others. However, his distress is not just about ethics. It is entangled with self-projected image of being a righteous person. Instead of acting on true dharma, which would mean exposing the wrongdoing or standing up for the truth, he rationalizes in a way that serves his attachment. If I speak up, I will lose my job. My family depends upon me. Maybe it is not my duty to interfere. Others are doing worse than this. Practical, very practical. Like Arjuna, his words appear pious, but they arise from fear and attachment, not clarity of dharma. The mind must be refined to see through the self-deception, ensuring that righteousness is not compromised under the guise of emotional distress or self-interest. Beware of the assumed personality. All of us have, knowingly or unknowingly, built up an image about ourselves, right from our childhood. That is why we are trying to, we are not in a position to bring God dimension behind every thought, every word, every deed. When we go to ashram, when we see a saint, when we go to temple, when we chant something, then immediately, we remember about God. Otherwise, no, in all our dealings, we don't. Either at home or in the professional field or with the society. There, only we are there. Now we understand it is because our image building has been very strong. It refuses to accept the power behind the image. Very rare case I have seen. It starts from the childhood. So we are all under the clutches of this self-projected image. Only when we try to think that God has given us this birth, He has been providing everything right from our seed stage up to this moment. So where is our rights and wrongs? He has got His own plan through us. At least intellectually we have to keep on hammering this. He is working out His will through us. Then only the image. Acha, anybody remembers anything?
Swamiji, lot of introspection ನಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಸದಾ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ
Introspection, lot of introspection.
Lot of introspection is necessary, no doubt. Because the image is very strong with us, very strong. But only by looking back to our life, we will try to learn this. We have not from anything else. God has made us to witness so many things, experience so many things. If we refuse to learn from the experience He has given, we will be carrying on with this. But as spiritual children, we should try. Acha, you gave us on that day, that is why I behaved like that or they behaved like this.
So, Swamiji,
Swamiji, about the same thing, introspection. So, if we have had some old, something, some thought from our near and dear ones, like only ones who come in our life, who kind of teacher.
So, suppose some thought comes upon near and dear ones.
Suppose one thought comes?
Neelam, can you repeat it, please?
Sorry, ma'am?
Can you repeat it, please, Neelam ji?
I'm saying, with introspection, whatever thought we are carrying from our near and dear ones, we can resolve that mentally. Because now we have more clarity.
She said by introspection, when words are spoken to our near and dear ones, we can analyze and understand it, right? And resolve the problem.
Correct. Normally we say, He is in a different mood. I will talk to him later. So that because the traffic of thoughts will be blocked. So then we want the traffic of thoughts, it should go. But when I am angry, when I am prejudiced, it will not go. So at that time there is no use of talking. So beware of the assumed personality's influence. And the last one, link always with the originating power. Sanjay said, speaking this last sloka, Arjuna cast aside his bow and arrow, sank into the seat of his chariot, his mind in distress, overwhelmed with grief. This is how the first chapter ends. When we believe but he did not run away. He did not ask Krishna, try back home. He sat there. That means what? Then again we start thinking. When we believe of a higher power in us, when he knew that Lord Krishna is with us, in times of crisis, we will not run away from the field, look up to the power for guidance. Though Arjuna got demotivated not to lead his side in the war, he did not run away, nor ask Sri Krishna to drive the chariot back to his place, because somewhere in the mind he knew the guidance will come to him from the Lord. A staunch atheist firmly believed that success came solely through self-effort. To assert his conviction, he had a board made that read, God is nowhere. However, when the finished board was delivered, he was dismayed to see that it was written with God is now here. Annoyed by the unintended message, he set it aside, dismissing it as a mistake. Months later, life took a harsh turn, faced with serious challenges, because he only read nowhere, He said, the paintist, the one who did he has committed some mistake. That's all. So he was reading only God is nowhere, God is nowhere, God is nowhere. Suppose you do the proofreading with a mind, you will not see the mistake at all. A person who has not gone through should do the proofreading. I may not be, what I write, I may not be able to do the proofreading, because in my mind it is very clear. So months later, life took a harsh turn, faced with serious challenges, unable to find a forward. He sat in a corner of his house, head in his hands, weighed down by despair. His 8-year-old son noticed his distress, asked, Dad, why are you so upset? The man said, I am going through a very difficult time. No one can help me now. Without hesitation, the boy pointed to the forgotten board and said, Dad, it says right here, God is now here. Why don't you ask God for help? The man had never imagined that the board he had once rejected would spark such faith in his young son. And somehow the boy's innocent words stirred something within him. For the first time, he turned inward, offered a silent prayer to the divine presence he had always denied. To his surprise, within a few days, his situation began to improve, and everything eventually worked out for the best. Even in Papa's case, when the institution was, what is that called? Loom. Dyeing the saris. When it was going from bad to worse and reached a stage where he had nothing, no asset, only liabilities. It was going from bad to worse, passing through severest crisis. And at that time, he did not blame anybody. He cried. Where is rest, where is peace? This was the heart's cry of Ramdas. The cry was heard. He did not run away. And God made also somebody to come forward and tell him that he will invest money and revive the business. So there it says, connect, I link always with the originating power. God must have some,
The third chapter, Atmani Atmanam, self-motivation.
Huh? Huh?
Sixth chapter, Maharaj.
Sixth chapter. She is
That is right. No, okay.
Sixth chapter.
Now here it is linked always with the originating power. That is why we are chanting Ram Nam, Purpose of chanting Ram Nam is to habituate ourselves to link everything with Him. We have been hearing Papa's words, 100 times. Unless you link yourself with the author of our being, our life is in vain. Very powerful word. Unless you link yourself with the author of your being, your life is in vain. The simple truth, common sense says, we have not initiated our life. It was initiated by that power. That power, will that power simply do that? No. That power is omnipotent, omniscient and omnipresent. So it will not send us without any direction. Because we have our self-assumed individuality does not allow us to realize this, all problems come. By hearing this, we may not be able to do it, but we are trying. By hearing this, now Papa makes us to go through these words, link always with the originating power. It is for that purpose we are now taking Ram Nam, to habituate ourselves to bring the God dimension behind every thought, every word, every deed. Kindly think about any incident that comes in your mind and then we will meet tomorrow. It's already 4:30. So the purpose is now this. We are not interested to cover so many slogas. Each one should sink into us, so that when we deal with men and matters, something of it will help. 100% sure. Because we are not just reading and going. We are trying to dwell upon it, reflect upon it, contemplate upon it, and facilitating it to percolate into our thinking system. It will help us. So let us see tomorrow. You can also now work out all these 6 one. What are the 6 one? Evaluate first before plunging into action. Wrong thinking is the only problem in life. Individualism distorts our vision. Clarity of purpose helps overcome inner confusion. Beware of the assumed personality's influence. Link always with the originating power. Please do some thinking. This interaction is very much necessary. Otherwise somebody is talking, somebody is hearing. No, it will not have any impact. If the impact means we must somehow dwell, reflect, discuss. Okay, we pray to him to give us, he has facilitated so many things for us now. So we pray to him kindly. Huh?
He said something I
Simply
didn't
hearing doesn't make any impact on us.
So simply hearing doesn't make any impact on us. Simply hearing doesn't make any impact.
Simply hearing will not have any impact. So we try to dwell upon it. Something will remain. Repeatedly we have to do. Repeatedly. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om.